Every day, trees absorb carbon from the air. This makes the air cooler and combats climate change. In the span of 1 year, one tree absorbs about 23 kilograms of carbon. That's the weight of a small deer. Each carbon credit represents 1,000 kilos or 1 metric ton of carbon removed from the air and stored in trees. That's the weight of 12 jaguars. Usually, you need about 500 trees to absorb enough carbon to equal one carbon credit. Each carbon credit is worth between $5 and $30 in the carbon market. When we multiply that by all the trees in the forest, it adds up to a lot of money very quickly. But wait, who is buying this invisible thing? That's a good question. The people buying the credits are usually large companies and governments that want to protect forests because of their climate benefits. And why do they want to buy them? In industrialized societies, almost everything has a monetary value. If something cannot be bought or sold, it is often not valued. Sometimes the way companies make money harms nature. For example, when they release substances like carbon into the air that cause climate change. This negatively affects all of us no matter where we live. Climate change is making it more difficult for all humans and animals to survive on this planet. The owners of large companies and the governments of the countries where they are based know that pollution is a big problem, but they often prioritize their business and they don't want to change the way they do things. And so they're trying to solve the problem of climate change by buying carbon credits? Yes, exactly. The idea is if they buy the same amount of credits as the amount of carbon their business releases into the air, they can cancel out the impacts of their pollution. This is called being net zero or carbon neutral. Okay, so now we know who the buyer is, but who is the seller? Whose carbon is it? This is a very important question which comes down to the law of each country. Many countries consider carbon a common good, meaning the rights to it lie with the government, even if a community holds legal title to the forest. In other countries like Mexico, Guatemala, Costa Rica, and Peru, the law says that carbon is owned by whoever owns the land where the forests are located. In this case, land rights equal carbon rights. All governments of forested countries can make money by selling carbon credits, as long as they promise to enforce protective legislation, among other actions that keeps their forests standing. This optional program for governments laid out in the Paris Agreement is called REDD+, which stands for Reducing Emissions from Deforestation and Forest Degradation. Things are starting to get a little complicated. Let's pause to review. One carbon credit is 1 metric ton of carbon removed from the air and stored in trees. Private companies or even other countries can buy these credits to become net zero. This means they are paying to protect forests elsewhere that absorb the same amount of carbon they emit at home. In some countries, the only one who can sell carbon credits is the government. In others, anyone who owns title to the forest land can participate in the market. When the national or state government is the seller, it is called Jurisdictional REDD Plus or JRED Plus. Any questions? Yes? Where do Indigenous peoples and local communities come into the picture? We are the ones protecting our territories from deforestation. That's true. In the next video, we're going to talk about what your rights are in the carbon market and how to protect them.